There comes a moment in every life, quiet, uncomfortable, undeniable, when something deep inside you stirs. Not loudly, not dramatically. It whispers. It asks a question that refuses to leave you alone. Is this really it? Is this the life you imagined when you were younger? Is this the level you promised yourself you would never settle for? Or did you slowly, silently negotiate your dreams down to something safe, predictable, average? Because here is the truth most people never face. Nothing changes until you do. Not your income. Not your confidence. Not your destiny. And the reason so many people stay stuck is not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It is because they never awaken the power that's been waiting inside them all along. There is a giant within you. A force of creativity, resilience, hunger, and vision far greater than your current results suggest. And that giant has been patient. It has watched you hesitate. It has watched you play small, delay decisions, wait for permission, wait for confidence, wait for the right time. And still, it waits. But understand this, potential unused does not remain neutral. It turns into frustration, regret, quiet anger. And one day, if ignored long enough, it turns into acceptance of a life far beneath what you were capable of living. Most people don't fail dramatically. They fail gradually. They lower their standards a little at a time. They tolerate what once would have been unacceptable. They trade their vision for comfort, their hunger for routine, their power for excuses. And then they call it reality. But reality is not what happens to you. Reality is what you decide to demand from life. Look at history. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before the light bulb changed the world. Not because he was lucky, but because his standards were relentless. He decided that quitting was not an option. Andrew Carnegie rose from poverty to build an empire because he believed mastery of the mind came before mastery of money. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination, laughed out of banks, buried in debt, yet he refused to negotiate with doubt. Abraham Lincoln lost elections, businesses, loved ones. Yet his inner identity was stronger than his outer setbacks. These were not superhuman beings. They were men who refused to live by default. And here's the part that matters most. They decided who they were before the world agreed. Your life today is a reflection of the standards you've set. What you tolerate in your body. What you tolerate in your relationships. What you tolerate in your thinking. What you tolerate in your habits. If you tolerate mediocrity, it will move in and unpack its bags. If you tolerate excuses, they will multiply. If you tolerate fear, it will quietly take control of your future. But the moment you raise your standards, truly raise them, everything begins to shift. Because standards are not wishes. They are commands to your nervous system. When you decide, this is who I am now, your brain starts searching for new strategies. When you decide, this is no longer acceptable, your behavior is forced to evolve. When you decide, I will not live this way anymore, the giant begins to wake up. Most people wait for motivation. That's why they lose. Motivation is unreliable. Emotion is fleeting. But decision is permanent. The quality of your life is shaped by the quality of your decisions in moments of pressure, discomfort, and uncertainty. Not when things are easy, but when it would be easy to quit. Your beliefs are the lenses through which you see everything. If you believe you are limited, life will prove you right. If you believe you are capable, resourceful, and unstoppable, life will test you, and then reward you. Belief is not blind optimism. Belief is trained. You train belief through repetition. Through what you focus on daily. Through the stories you tell yourself when no one is listening. Through the meaning you assign to pain. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the signal. Most people run from it. The powerful learn from it. Every setback carries a lesson. Every rejection carries redirection. Every moment of discomfort carries growth, if you choose to see it that way. Life does not happen to you. It happens for you, when you decide to extract strength instead of surrender. You don't need a new personality. You need a new identity. Identity is the invisible force that shapes your habits. If you see yourself as someone who quits, you'll quit. If you see yourself as someone who adapts, you'll adapt. If you see yourself as someone who rises, you'll rise. Change your identity, and behavior follows. And identity is built through daily rituals. What you do when you wake up. What you feed your mind. What you demand of your body. What you practice when no one is watching. Success is not one massive action. It is the result of small disciplines done consistently, fueled by a powerful why. You were not meant to survive. You were meant to thrive. And thriving begins the moment you stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what if I finally live up to my potential? The giant is stirring now. You can feel it. And this is where the path divides. Between those who feel inspired for a moment, and those who decide to transform for a lifetime. The giant does not wake up all at once. It wakes up when you stop lying to yourself. When you stop pretending you don't know what to do next. When you stop blaming your past, your parents, your luck, the economy, the timing. When you finally accept the most empowering truth there is, you are responsible. Responsibility is not a burden. It is power. The moment you take full responsibility for your life, you take back control of your future. No more waiting to be rescued. No more hoping someone notices your potential. No more outsourcing your confidence to circumstances. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And you start asking, how can I use this? Because every challenge is draining. Every obstacle is conditioning. Every difficult season is building strength you will need for the level you say you want. Most people want the rewards of growth without the demands of growth. They want confidence without discipline. Success without sacrifice. Respect without preparation. But life does not work that way. Life rewards those who are willing to become more than they've been. Clarity comes next. Not the kind you wait for, but the kind you create. Clarity is power. A mind without direction becomes a battlefield of distractions. A life without a compelling vision becomes a cycle of repetition. You must decide what matters. Who you are becoming. what you stand for, what you will no longer tolerate. Write it in your mind with fire. See it before it exists. Feel it before it's real. Speak it before it's visible. Visualization is not fantasy. It is rehearsal. The brain does not know the difference between what you vividly imagine and what you repeatedly experience. When you see yourself winning, standing strong, leading, creating, you wire your nervous system for certainty. That's why elite performers visualize. That's why champions rehearse mentally before they ever step into the arena. That's why the most successful minds spend more time imagining success than fearing failure. Your focus determines your emotional state. Your emotional state determines your actions. Your actions determine your results. Control your focus, and you control your life. But focus requires discipline. And discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It's training yourself to act regardless of mood. It's building standards so strong that excuses have no place to hide. The world doesn't reward intention. It rewards execution. Action is the great separator. Dreamers talk. Achievers move. Even imperfect action creates momentum. Even uncomfortable action builds confidence. Even small action, done consistently, compounds into massive results. Momentum silences doubt. You don't wait until you feel ready. You act until you become ready. And along the way, gratitude anchors you. Gratitude is not weakness. It is strength. Gratitude keeps you grounded when success rises. Gratitude keeps you steady when life tests you. It reminds you that progress, not perfection, is the goal. Those who are grateful see more opportunities. Those who complain see more obstacles. Adaptability comes next. The world will change. Your plans will be challenged. Your strategies will need adjustment. Rigidity breaks. Flexibility survives. Resilience is not avoiding hardship, it is learning to rise faster each time you fall. It is trusting yourself to figure things out. It is knowing that no experience is wasted if you extract the lesson. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is the pathway. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every breakthrough was preceded by frustration. Every victory demanded patience, learning, and persistence. You are not behind. You are becoming. Learning never ends. The moment you stop growing, you start shrinking. Read. Study. Observe. Refine. Success leaves clues. Wisdom is everywhere if you stay humble enough to listen. And now, here you are. Standing at the edge of a decision. You can go back to comfort. Back to routine. Back to average. Or you can step forward. Into responsibility. Into discipline. Into vision. Into growth. The giant within you is awake now. It has waited long enough. This is not about motivation. This is about identity. Decide who you are today. Decide what you stand for. Decide how you will live. Because the world does not need more people playing small. It needs leaders, builders, creators, individuals who refuse to waste their one life. Awaken the giant within, or accept the cost of staying average. The choice has always been yours. And understand this, average is not a neutral place. Average is expensive. It costs you your time. It costs you your confidence. It costs you the quiet pride that comes from knowing you gave life everything you had. Average slowly erodes the soul. It convinces you that comfort is enough, that security is safety, that dreaming big is risky, unrealistic, childish. But deep down, you know better. You feel it late at night when the noise fades and the distractions fall away. You feel it when you watch others live boldly and something inside you tightens. Not jealousy, recognition. Because the same fire lives in you. And fire demands fuel. Your body is not just a vessel, it is an engine. When you move with intensity, your mind follows. When you breathe deeply, stand tall, move forward with purpose, you send a message to your nervous system, I am strong. I am capable. I am ready. State controls story. Change your physical state, and you change what you believe is possible. That's why leaders train their energy. That's why champions guard their mornings. That's why high performers refuse to start the day in reaction mode. Win the morning, and you don't chase the day, you command it. But command requires courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that fear does not get to vote. Fear will always show up when you are about to grow. It whispers doubts. It exaggerates risk. It reminds you of past failures. Let it speak. But don't let it decide. Because on the other side of fear is expansion. On the other side of discomfort is capability. On the other side of resistance is the version of you that no longer questions their worth. Most people avoid the edge. They live safely in the middle. But nothing extraordinary is built there. Growth happens at the edge of what you know, what you've done, and who you've been. And every time you step to that edge and don't retreat, your identity strengthens. Confidence is earned, not granted. You earn it by keeping promises to yourself. By showing up when it's inconvenient. By acting in alignment with your values even when no one is watching. Integrity builds power. And power, when guided by purpose, becomes impact. Purpose is not something you find once and keep forever. It evolves as you grow. But at its core, purpose is contribution. It is the realization that your life is not just about you. That your growth expands what's possible for others. That your courage gives permission. That your discipline sets an example. When you attach your goals to something bigger than yourself, quitting becomes harder. Excuses lose their grip. Your pain gains meaning. This is how ordinary people do extraordinary things. Not by being fearless, but by being committed. Committed to learning. Committed to adjusting. Committed to rising again, faster, wiser, stronger. Life will test you. Not because it's cruel, but because it's precise. It tests your patience to teach you endurance. It tests your resolve to reveal your values. It tests your belief to see if it's real or just words. And every test you pass expands your capacity. You are not meant to be managed by life. You are meant to shape it. Moment by moment. Decision by decision. This is the awakening. Not a burst of emotion that fades by morning, but a quiet, unshakable knowing that you are done settling, done shrinking, done waiting. You rise now with intention. You move now with clarity. You act now with standards that match your potential. Because the giant within you is no longer sleeping. It is standing. It is watching. It is ready. And it will not let you go back to who you were. Only forward. Into growth. Into power. Into the life you were always capable of living.